Yeah, so then we were thrown out of the nightclub. That's when we stole the donkey and the speedboat. Huge chase down the River Thames, ended up crashing it into a Nelson's column. Helen Mirren was sick in the back of a taxi. Anyway, I thought it was a work event.
You haven't actually explained where the llama came from yet.
No, but I thought it was a work event, so... Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to...
Moving very swiftly along.
Welcome to the... I forgot what the name of the show is now. The Interesting Modelling Company.
The Wednesday evening blur.
Yeah, it is a bit of a blur.
Rather less ordered than Mondays.
That was very ordered.
Very sober affair.
My mum said she was very impressed at how professional that was. I thought she must have been watching a different show, but
was she watching our show or what? I don't know.
Exactly. Hello, Mum. No, it's I'm freezing. It's been a freezing old day today, hasn't it? It's been nice down your neck of the woods. It's
been
nice.
It's been sunny but cold.
No, it's been lovely and misty, and driving across the Somerset levels today, and the sun setting with the mist. I'd love to stop to take a photograph, but I couldn't.
But I have to say, if I was given a choice, it wasn't quite cold enough. Because if you're out in it, it's just above zero, so it's not freezing. So the wet is very, very piercing. The wet is, but if there's a couple of degrees colder, like just below zero, it would be dry and freezing, which would be beautiful. So
it was nice. It's very enjoyable.
Yes, absolutely.
Even if the heating in my car seems to have suddenly stopped working, but hey ho.
Oh, really? Cars come to you to die, don't they?
Anyway, welcome to tonight's midweek show. We've got we're just going to kind of like field questions from you, and we're going to do some updates on projects. And I think Drew's got a kit or two that he's got lined up on his workbench that he's going to talk about tonight. So, without further ado,
can we talk about Monday briefly?
Oh, we're talking about Monday then. Go on then. Let's talk about Monday.
I just want to talk about Monday, and it was probably one of our most successful.
It was. Thank you,
ever, wasn't it? And thank you to everybody for tuning in. It was. I mean, we had a fantastic 2 hours. I thought, and it kind of romped along quite merrily. But I know you were looking for the statistics for it, and there were really some quite impressive figures. Weren't
thank you. Yeah, I mean, thank you to everybody who tuned in, because it really was, and we've gained a shed load of follows after that as well. So thank you very much, everybody. It's very, very, very kind of you. Yeah. So we'll try and follow up with.
I mean, my fear is now that the new followers we gained are actually going to discover tonight what the normal format is, and lose interest very quickly. They're going to, oh my god, oh no, oh this wasn't right.
Just two middle-aged men, or usually three middle-aged men, just waffling away. No, well, we will try and we've got some new releases coming up, more new releases lined up for Sunday, and there's a couple more release programs to talk about. So we are going to try and we'll probably have another special coming along in the next couple of weeks.
I don't think a January has been quite this kind of exciting and relentless in terms of kit releases for many years. We kind of slipped into this point these days where kit releases are announced in sort of like an ongoing, have been announced as sort of an ongoing way throughout the year. And this year seems to have been a massive flurry, like just in December and January, of companies announcing their intentions. It's been really quite feeling like it was about a quarter of a century, 25 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, when
the old
January, we used to wait all year for January and the toy fair, and then, endlessly the magazines had come out at the end of January, beginning of February, with all the new releases for the next year, and then when you'd be pouring through them for weeks and making up your shopping lists and stuff. It feels a bit like that. It's really cool.
It is, and I think I think what we'll probably do is on Sunday. I can't remember whether we covered Zvezda's. I think we covered a couple of Zvezda's things that they put in their program, but I think it might be worth on Monday doing like a recap of Zvezda, because I know they've announced they did some aircrafters and tanks and things. But we've got Italeri's release program, which will probably be announced in the next couple of weeks or so. And what else have we got? Goodness me. I'll have to kind of bang heads with you, because there were some other releases that were announced. I think ICM have lobbed another couple of aircraft into the mix.
Right. Yeah. I mean, talking of Italeri, I did hear a rumor earlier this week, a nice rumor, I have to say, that they're looking at new tech again. They're looking for new tech for their moldings going forward again. So hopefully they're going to, shall we say, return to a bit more of the glory days. They've been a little bit, for me, a little bit lackluster for quite a few years now. I don't think the tech has been the best. They've been the best available, shall we say? And apparently,
they're like the Tornado.
Yeah, I mean, the Tornado was about 3 years in the making, though, wasn't it? It was, it was very much a labour of love. But I'm hearing, I read somewhere earlier this week that Italy have announced that they have got new tech in the works, so to speak. So perhaps the Central and Eastern European manufacturers have kind of tweaked a few noses into wanting to keep up.
I'm gonna quickly say this, though. We won't dwell on it too much, because I just don't think it's it's not worth dwelling on. But even with this, the amount of new kits that have been announced since about November last year, and then we've had other stuff coming from other manufacturers, and then we had the announcements over the weekend and everything. I still don't get why some people are so inherently negative in this hobby. I don't get it. Is it because their personal wish lists are not being ticked off, that they can't sit back and just go, well, it's nothing here for me, but good luck to the rest of you? It's just this kind of like, I
think it, probably you said it earlier today somewhere, that people want 2022 technology at 1985 prices. And life doesn't work like that, does it? I still think on balance, it's, people are saying the hobby's getting more expensive, and undoubtedly in many ways it is getting more expensive, but it's still not expensive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's still, you can still cut your cloth to suit most.
Yeah. There was, I saw a couple of comments, online from people saying, "Oh, I'd like to kind of get my kids into the hobby now, but it isn't possible." And it's like, yes, it is. You're just not looking at the right kits. I'm sorry. There are, give me, put it this way: what's your budget? Right? Fine, give me that money. I'll come back. Not only will I come back with a kit, I could probably come back with some kits. But anyway, don't let dwell on it, because we like to be happy, clappy, positive, drink the Kool-Aid type people. So,
well, yes, but I mean, it does bear talking about, because from that our positivity extends.
One would hope so.
Our maybe slight contrariness in some ways. It kind of, no, it's still it might not be as cheap as it once was, but. Yeah. There you go. Cut your coat to match your cloth.
You say we're contrary. I disagree with that. So,
no, we're not.
No, we're not. Right, projects. We've actually got. I've actually got 2 models more or less finished now. You probably saw this during the over the weekend. Is I finished that little IBG A10 Cruiser Mark 1A, which I'm kind of happy-ish with the finish. I just tried out some new ideas on this one, and just wanted to kind of pop all the detail with washes and things. I probably wouldn't finish a model like this again, but it's done. It's the beautiful models. I mean, I haven't weathered the underside, but the point about the underside is I've not weathered it because you're not going to see it on the finished model.
Yeah, that's a Verlinden job, isn't it?
But for IBG, go to the they go to the trouble of putting a lot of molded detail on the underside. Which tells you the dedication that they put into these little kits. There's a couple of little clunky areas. Certainly the Pioneer tools there, they're very kind of like lumpy, but you could easily scrape them off and make replacements, or put some resin or 3D print some replacements. But other than that, I thought this was utterly fantastic, a really fantastic little model, brilliant little kit to build, and dead cheap, and you get a book with it, or you get a book with a free kit, either way. So big thank you to Colin at Freight Dog, who sent this one through a couple of months ago. I will be going back to the IBG range to see what they've got, but yeah, big thumbs up here. I thought really, really impressive little kit. So
you know what strikes me about that, John, looking at that, the way that's been built, is that it speaks directly to our conversation we've been having about the difference between finishing for photography and finishing for yourself. I would guess in the flesh that is quite stark in some of the weathering, because it looks great on camera.
Do you know what? I pushed it a bit more. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
it's a slightly more stylized thing, and I went for a little bit more kind of chipping on it.
Yeah,
and,
like I say, it kind of plays directly to what we were talking about. Where if I built that and weathered it the way I normally weather stuff, you wouldn't see any of that on camera.
No, I decided to try something a little bit, like I said, I decided to push some ideas and push some techniques just to see what would happen. But I think sometimes you just got to do that. You've just got to run with something, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't worry about it. The flip side of that is that I also got round to finishing this, which is the Dragon SAS Bushmaster. I've kept the weathering on this very minimal. In fact, you can probably just pick out some kind of like little bits of streaks and things running off of some of the raised detail on it. That's it. That's all I've done with that kit.
I think in Afghanistan, a lot of these vehicles, they might have got dusty.
Yeah,
but they didn't really, really get beaten up, because there's a big desert effectively, wasn't it? They weren't driving through trees and stuff like that.
No. The one thing I did use just to see what it looks like is the windscreen decor they give you for the kind of dusty windscreen.
Not convinced by that.
It doesn't work.
I'm not convinced by that. I was going to ask about that because I'd forgotten that was a decal, and
no, I
thought I was about to call you to task for your poor weathering of the windscreen.
And you'd be right. And in fact, I've just realised that the windscreen wipers have gone AWOL. They're probably trying to run away from that decal, to be honest with you. That's the one thing that really didn't work for me. But it was in the kit, and I thought, I got to use it.
It's another one of those. It's another one of those nice ideas, isn't it? It's a. I wouldn't knock them for trying it, even if for anybody above a quite a basic level of finishing, it wouldn't be what they would choose.
No, I because this has to be built straight out the box.
Yeah,
it is essentially a display model of the actual vehicle. I've just used it. In fact, I've just realised I haven't painted the little axe on the bonnet there, and in fact, I have realised I haven't done any of the rear lights on it as well. But it's almost there anyway. Very simple.
That's a half hour sitting down with.
Yes,
it's a half hour.
It's a half hour. I'll wait for the couscous to cook. But yeah, it was this very, very basic. I mean, the interior. I just painted the interior black, and that was it. I haven't bothered with anything in there, and that was a justifiable decision. Big old vehicle. I mean, when you kind of like place that next to a cruiser tank, that's a hefty bit of lump.
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot of the time, it kind of eludes people just how big these modern wheeled military vehicles are. All the stuff like the the Striker and the Boxer and all those. They are actually massive vehicles. They're 28, 30 tons sort of thing. They're big old buses.
Yeah. And this does sort of remind me of the Landmaster from the 1977 film Damnation Alley, which is about as much as I want to be reminded about that film. Nice little model. Like I say, you're not gonna. I mean, I think this retails probably about. I think it's about 23, 24 quid. you're not going to get you're not going to be spending a lot of time on that for your outlay of cash, but you can probably then offset that by painting it, probably detailing it a bit more if you wanted to, perhaps even opening up the rear door there and showing off scratch burn in the interior. So it's very much a kind of like a you could build and paint this over a weekend. It took me a week, but that's because I was being lazy. But other than that,
I kind of think these days for a 70-second scale kit of that sort of size, be it aircraft or armor, 15 quid is a relatively decent starting point for the upper echelons of quality, I think.
Yeah, I think this is about $24.99. So
yeah,
it's relative to what you're getting there. It's a
yeah. But what I'm saying is, it's like that seems entirely reasonable ballpark to me.
Okay.
It's I think to a large degree we've maybe left behind a lot of the times when I'd certainly buy 2 or 3 of a model for the stash with future plans, and we've gone into sort of more of I buy a model because I want to build it, and in that light, to me that is still not bad value for money.
No. Also, just very very quickly before I hand over to you, is having watched Uncle Nightshift's recent one of his recent videos, I went back and I've had another go at Sonny and Sher here, and I went a completely different approach with this time, and I did that whole thing of kind of like, you can't really see it in the pictures, but I did that whole thing of kind of like top down shadow, spraying them black and then spraying them white from above. Then the skin tones were very much several layers of glazes that I put over.
Right.
And you know what? It kind of works. It kind of works. So you can't see it in the pictures here, but actually the some of the kind of like the gradients are better than I could do with a paintbrush. So that is a technique I will be using in the game.
So you weren't going to paint those 7 times like you did with the previous figures. How many times is that for those now?
7 times. So
and I've been painting a figure, haven't I?
Yeah, what can I say? I thought it was a work event.
Yeah, I thought it was a work event. I've been painting a figure, and let's have a little. So, I finished the Tomcat last week, and I still need to finish this little guy off. Finish painting this little guy off for the carrier diorama. So we're about halfway through painting him now. And like you were saying with Uncle Nightshift, one of the techniques I did use the shadow shading technique with the airbrush before I started painting the main parts.
Yeah.
But the other thing was I used the AK plastic putty to mask between the trousers.
Oh right, the tacky putty stuff.
Yeah, I pushed. I used his technique for that to because I airbrushed both of those. I'm trying to get in the middle of. Sorry, people. Yeah, so I used that, and it was like it took about 90 seconds to mask it, and then spray it. So I've still got to paint stuff like the gloves and the boots need to be finished off, and obviously the face and the goggles need some more work there. But yeah, and the decals here, the decals for the markings on the back and the helmet and the shoulders. Again, I think it's just trying to put to bed the idea that to me a decals are unusable. That's over fabric. That's over a fabric kind of appearance. And I think it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it?
I would not disagree with you.
So yeah, that's bear in mind I don't paint figures at all. So this is a very much I very very rarely paint figures at all. So yeah, that's sort of going on in the background. But the main thing at the moment is
the top of your head. Oh goodness me! It's a boat.
It's a boat.
It's a boat.
So yeah, this is sort of being built sort of in sub assemblies at the moment. So it all kind of pulls apart at the moment. Yeah, this is the Arctica, the icebreaker from Zvezda. I've reinforced all the joints on the inside just to give it a bit of, strength, if you like, because it's obviously they're quite large, flimsy pieces straight out of the box. So I sort of reinforce those with super glue and dental resin, and filled and sanded. All the this is another one of those things where none of this stuff here is really going to be visible, because it's going to be this way up. But yeah, as I'm building up things like the decks and all these parts are going in, I'm reinforcing it all just to make sure it becomes as sturdy as it possibly can. But that kind of, that again, typically Zvezda, and it's all very remarkably precise. So that'll pop in there as part of that rear deck, and then this top deck goes over there like so, and this will all stiffen up when you add glue, obviously. Then we're building the kind of superstructure on top, which is really quite big and boxy on this particular, as you can see.
I'm enjoying you doing this because because it's a ship and it's massively out of your comfort zone, and B, CA.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But again, it's sort of like, because things like this are built up from four sides, and you have to get sort of square. I've been using bits of plasticard just to achieve a square, make sure all the joins are square.
Top tip there, people.
Because once it's in there, it needs to drop down, obviously, onto the deck there, over this piece here, which is square. So just a few pieces of card, thick plastic sheet cut out using a square, and I also did a little cross it just braces it all, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, is it essential? No, it isn't. But it's kind of this. I'm very much a belt and braces sort of modeler who reinforces any joint he thinks might struggle at any point in the future. I will tend to reinforce. So that is now, really very, very strong indeed. And yet, because it's all square, it just drops over the deck to form the, because as you can see, it's a big old chunky.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's a big old chunky superstructure. It's a big old boat. It's what, 33,000 tons. See, Johan's asking about the color scheme. No, Johan, this is the modern schemes, which are basically Russian colors with white. It's the previous generation with the black and orange. With the black and orange ones, which are my favorites, I have to say. I think they're amazing vessels, and I would hope that Zvezda would look at those in the future. But this is the new generation of icebreakers, which are considerably larger than the older ones, and more powerful, but not as interesting in color scheme, shall we say? Well, they're pretty good, but I really like that black and orange is a fantastic scheme.
Yeah, it is. Matt Whiting asks, "Is that 1/350th?" It is, Matt. And
it is, Matt. It's 1/350th scale. So yeah, they're like I say, they're aircraft carrier sized. They're bigger than sort of the Invincible and Illustrious and stuff like that. Really, I mean, there's the onboard helicopter that goes on the rear deck. There's a helicopter deck that goes on the rear here. Is actually an MI8, a hit. So that gives you some idea of the size of the boat overall. So so that's what I'm sort of noodling away on this week, shall we say? So it's actually quite good fun, because it's fairly typically Zvezda these days, in that everything fits pretty well. The kind of the stuff I'm doing in terms of reinforcing joints is a personal choice. It's not essential. The actual kit fits really, really well out straight out of the box. So thus far, even though it's completely out of my comfort zone, I could recommend it. I think it's a great little project, I think.
Well,
and I don't think it's not expensive either. Talking about the costs. I think this is in the mid £30,
Yeah.
35, £40, which for a big ship like that, I don't think is expensive at all.
No, well, going back to one of my favourite kits of last year was that Zvezda Sherman, and 25 quid for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Whilst you were doing your little section there, I was on my hands and knees on the floor trying to find the windscreen wipers, which I've now found, and they are securely super glued. They're not going to escape that decal again. But yeah, I just use the decal because it's in the kit and just want to see what it looks like.
Is that windscreen wiper one part, or are there 3 individual windscreen wipers?
No, it's photo etched. It's a photo etched part in the kit. So,
cool. It looks cool.
You do get,
really cool.
do get an injection molded one, but I just so using that instead. And also, my chair has shrunk down again, so I'm like the guy at the end of the television channel on the Far Show. I've got my knees up underneath my chin now, so gonna have to have a look on IKEA and get myself a new chair, I think. I'm just like, here I am. Hello. It's ridiculous.
Slowly disappearing out of view.
Stupid chair. Anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I like to see what you can do with a ship, and I still do have taunting me from a shelf somewhere is that 1/350th Musashi, which.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I have to admit, when we were at Jadland before Christmas, I was looking at some of the Tamiya 350th scale. I think I was looking at the King George again, and kind of looking at it and sort of with some degree of avarice and thinking I might like that.
Spence and I still have at some stage in our busy schedules to factor in our battle. It's not going to be a battleship challenge, but it's going to be our Tamiya 1/700 scale. British battleship shindig of some sort. It's like a weekend build or a focus build, bit like that Bristol Beaufort one. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. Shall we move on anyway?
Let's move on. Yes, exactly. So
some things just don't work, do they? Some things just don't come together.
Nah, it was a plan that didn't come together.
But
you've also when you lucky boy, you've also got.
Yes, thanks to the extremely generous Pavu from Poland, I was able to have one of these delivered to me this week. So if I just the Arma Hobby is one of the new P51B/C, and I had one of those, and everything you've heard and seen about this kit is absolutely on the money. It is.
You're lost for words, clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. You are. It is just absolutely unbelievably good. So it's one of those genuine. It's one of those genuine leaps, if you know what I mean. In quality and technology, it's just the finesse they've. And again, Arma were a limited run company, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think what their first kit was that made that transition into kind of like the Premier League.
The Hurricane. I think it was a Hurricane, but then they've done the PZ11 as well, which is really beautiful.
Well, Ian Hartup was eulogising about their Fokker D8 that they do, the Flying Ranger. He says that's pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at it's kind of detail on the wings here, on the internals of the wheelbase and stuff, and the fuselage. And the thing is, if you look on the outside as well, you can kind of see molding marks, but there's no sinkage or anything.
No.
So not only is the tooling incredibly clean, but it's been very, very carefully designed as well. And you've got sort of multiple different fins for it. You got a filleted and a non-filleted tail with a pair of fins to match. The louvers here, there's 3 different styles. There's blocked holes and louvers for it. I don't know if anybody's looking on Roy's Barracuda. page, but Joseph Youngerman's been building one of these this week, and it just looks, words literally do fail you, and things like a few years ago we were having flaps starting to be done separately. Now they're including all these kind of details, and bits of the flaps you probably wouldn't have seen it previously. So, but that said, looking at it, it's not a terribly complicated model, is it? There's not.
No.
There's not that much to it. You've got normal. Let's take that out there. Let's take that out.
But while you're doing that, I'm just quickly googling to see where I can get one.
So the canopies, you've got the standard canopy and the Malcolm hoods in there. You've got a pair of Malcolm hoods. I think one's open and one's closed. And the same with the normal flat canopy. You've got open and closed options for that. It's just it's spectacular. It is absolutely spectacular. And also you've got, have a look at the kind of instructions that they're doing now. It's next level stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
It is absolutely it's absolutely next level stuff. And I really what surprised me was of the options, there's only one option in olive drab and neutral grey in the kit, and that to me is a P51B. That is essential P51B. Olive drab and neutral grey. But as you can see, there's an RAF one there with a Malcolm hood and a filleted fin.
Polish squadron, I do believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you've got. I
like that American one.
You like that American one?
Yeah. Well, I like P51Bs with a Malcolm hood.
Yes, and in fact, both RAF ones. Oh no, that one's got a Malcolm hood. The other RAF one's got a flat hood, but that's RAF. That's in fact Royal Australian Air Force, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it was one of the ones that was operating in the Mediterranean theatre. Was it one? Yeah. So yeah, that's with C-type roundels on top wings as well. So that's a nice option. That's a
I like the half invasion stripes on the fuselages.
Yes, yeah. It's like I said, it's a really. I'm surprised. I am surprised that there are not more olive drab and neutral grey options in the kit. But that said, they have chosen wisely, haven't they? And there's this last one with these markings, but also after it was captured with Japanese markings.
Yeah, I think if I had that kit, I'd almost gravitate to do that just to be different, just to be contrary.
I don't like it. I have to be honest. I don't. It doesn't appeal to me at all. That one. That does.
Yeah, I like it because it's just so it is odd.
But I have to say that although my sort of surprise at the lack of traditional schemes aside, nearly every scheme in that has a degree of, and that one's got a fillet on a fin as well. That's got a Malcolm hood and a fillet. So nearly everyone in nearly every scheme they have selected is very, very interesting. I mean, Ding Hao's a famous one anyway, isn't it?
Well, we've been having this discussion over the weekend. Is that if you include famous, well-known aircraft, people complain and go, boring. It's been done lots of times before. And then if you don't include the famous aircraft, they complain because, well, it's a famous one. Why haven't you included it? And it's.
I mean, I fully believe that the most popular aircraft should be included in kits for exactly that reason.
Let me put it this way. Let me put it to you this way: is that it's very easy to be led by the people for whom they go, seen it before. You may have seen it before, but there's a lot of people coming into this.
I want to see Johnny Johnson's Spitfire. I want to see Big Beautiful Doll or Louis IV in a Mustang. I think they the one scheme I would like to do from this, if I could get decals for it, it would be as a tribute to the Airfix kit. I'd like to do the Hunt of Texas.
Yeah.
But put choices or opinions about the scheme choices aside, that is a stunning sheet, isn't it?
Now, well, the first thing that leaps out at me is they appear to have included duplicate sets of stencils. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, because you've got 2 sets of seat belts there. Unless they are different ones for American and British harnesses, it looks like they've not only have they duplicated that, but you've also got lots of. I'm trying to work out what they're doing there with the US stars. You've got enough US stars there to do two American aircraft. That's interesting. As a decal designer, I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, there's a reason why they've included the excess in there. I'm just trying to work out why.
No idea. I will say the only thing I don't like is the choice of. Although no, I don't think it is, because I was wondering about the choice for the WCF codes on the fuselage of this Mustang here.
The Australian one?
No, the Polish one.
Oh, the Polish one. That should be sky.
And no, it's showing it. Even the instructions are showing it as grey.
Oh, okay.
So that would lead me to think there's actually a reason for that, because they wouldn't normally make that kind of error, would they?
They look they look like sky on the video here, but
no, they're definitely they're a sort of light to medium grey sort of colour, and the instructions reflect that as well. That it shows.
Okay, Dave Swindle's come up with a thing. He says their expert sets usually come with 2 sets of stencils, so you can get a set of overtrees and do 2 schemes. Aha! Thank you, David. That's very kind of you.
See,
yeah. There we go. We've got I like an audience that's smarter than us.
Yeah, there you go. That makes us even bigger fans of Arma Hobby, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's Arma Hobby, by the way. Moss Models saying, sorry, which manufacturer? It's Arma Models. And Jim Altagot says the captured P51 is quite unique. Yeah, I like it because it is so it's so off. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about it that just doesn't work for me. Although I still think it's a great, I think it's a great choice.
Yeah,
it's just not one I would pick. Now this kit, I think when it goes on sale in the UK, in this particular boxing, is going to be about £24.
Yeah, I've just gone online to see if I can get one. All the prices I'm seeing are actually about £22, which is great. And then I'm seeing the postage, which is kind of like
I mean that's the problem we're facing in this brave new world at the moment.
Yeah. Postage here is $666, which
I mean I hate to say it I mean not that there's anything wrong with that company, but for the majority of people in this country, getting this is going to be a Hannant's job.
Yes, I did just check them as well.
And people who who deal with Hannants, that's the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be for most people now, because you simply can't order direct from Poland.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until one of our Somerset-based retailers gets it. Then I'm going to get one. I'm not going to bust I'm not going to bust the gut to get one, for the simple reason that we featured it on the show now, so that's that box ticked. And
the other thing that I think is worth bearing in mind is that very, very shortly they've already announced another boxing of it anyway. And this is the expert set. And very, very shortly there will be a basic set,
right?
Which I would imagine will be £16 or £17. Which takes it into, to my mind, bearing in mind what we've got in the box there, quite spectacular value for money. I really think this is one of the nicest 72nd scale kits I've ever seen. It is simply. We won't discuss the officially licensed Boeing thing on there. Yeah, that's another thing. Anyway, like I say, thanks very much to Pavu for that. And he also sent me this. I got this as well. This is a deluxe set. This is a dual kit. Now, before we go any further, I had a problem with mine, and it's already been addressed by Arma Hobby, in that this should contain a sprue for the an FM1 and an FM2.
Mm-hmm.
But it appears that most or a significant proportion of them have been released with 2 FM1 sprues in there instead. If you get this kit and you've got that problem, it's not actually that big a problem. You go to Arma Hobby's website, and there's a contact detail on there where they're asking you just to tell them where you got it from, the kit, and the fact that you've got 2 sprues. Give your name and address, and they will mail out the correct sprue to you. So effectively, if you're in that boat, what you're going to end up with is 2 FM, one FM1, one FM2, and an FM1 over tree, free, effectively. So although it's it's quite a niggly little thing, they are putting it right. They have recognised as a problem. They are putting it right very, very quickly. It's I don't know if we've discussed this model, haven't we? This is a, like say, you've got one. That's the FM1, one FM2, some laser cut.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really nice, isn't it? Some laser cut carrier deck bits. However that goes, I don't think it actually goes together. I think it's one for each aircraft. Another extremely large and full set of markings. And a set of instructions. And it's nice because the instructions aren't telling you which to do for which kit as you go along. It's like we start off with the FM1, and it takes you all the way through building the FM1. Again, these fabulous instructions. And then you get to the end, and it covers all the schemes for the FM1 that they've included. Some nice variety there. Oh yes. Oh, look at those.
I like the Pacific Fleet one. Very nice.
And then they do the same for the FM2. They take you completely through the FM2, and then go through all the markings options for the FM2.
It does look nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what the retail price of this is. Somebody's gonna have to check that for me when it gets to the UK. All I'll say was that I managed to get these, both the Mustang and the Wildcat packs from Poland for about £50 for the pair. So clearly the Wildcat is fabulous value for money in that light. Given what we know the retail price of the Mustang is. Yeah.
Dave Wendell asks, no etch or masks in that one, Drew?
I thought they both had. Oh, in actual fact, I might be wrong. No, it doesn't appear there is. It doesn't appear there is.
No. Ivan also says the Wildcats are £33.50 for that double kit.
That's fantastic value for money.
Ivan also says Mike Jolly apparently is doing the P51s for £21.50, including postage, which is brilliant. But Ivan, I've been on his website, I can't find them. So if you can PM me a link for that, that'd be very, very good. Thank you very much. And Stan says Hannants are quoting £35.99 for the Wildcats.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you tend to find is that if you order direct from Hannants, it generally costs you a little bit more, and then Hannants will ship it out to other dealers who then make their own deals on these things. Yeah. Whilst there's, I mean, Hannants are great. They've always got what you need, but they are a little bit more expensive than the general, but only marginally. Only marginally.
I use them
yeah.
quite a lot because I can just find something and then bang, that's it. I order it. We're
Yes.
done.
Yeah.
And I've never had a Hannant's order go missing in the post. So, they're solid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I do think that I've had the same problem on Mike Jolly's website before now. It can be a little bit opaque, shall we say.
I've gone through, I've searched P51, I've searched Arma, nothing's coming up, but I'm sure it'll resolve itself in one way or another. But hey ho.
Yeah. But so there's those two that I received this week from Poland. And then one last thing that turned up. In more, it's been a week of goodies. Yes.
Oh, dearie me.
Yes, the model Svit. Now we know I'm a model Svit fan. We know I'm a model Svit fan. I've been very clear about that many times. So when this was announced, it was I like the aircraft. So it's been a Mustang week, hasn't it? In one way or another, really. So yeah, this turned up, and again, this I ended up buying direct from Hannant's, just because they had it in stock. I'll have a look, probably, but I can't see them in there. We'll have a look. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, I got this direct from Hannant's because the European, getting stuff from Europe now is just it's a joke. It's just the postage is insane. That's if they'll even ship here. That's if they'll even ship. So Hannant's got it in. I got it. This was, I think it was 58 quid, which again is getting up there in price. But if you want a twin Mustang in 48 scale, you have got strictly limited options, I'm afraid, these days. And then when you open the kit, you go, yeah, you know what, that's fine. When they release the next variant, I'll have that as well. So nice that the clear parts, each set of clear parts is in their own little boxes there, which is quite nice to protect them. Again, like I've said before, this they're on the cusp between being mainstream and limited run these days.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual, the surface detail on this is just absolutely beautiful. You can see all the panel detail there. Look. So, so you got all your multiple bags here. Look. The other thing is how big the twin Mustang is compared to a Mustang.
Yes,
even the fuselage is just much bigger than a Mustang.
Yeah. Oh, I've got the old monogram one, which in a Revell box. But even I was sent that years ago just to do a write up on it, and I remember opening up and thinking, "Is this 72nd scale? It looks 48." Big old thing.
It's a big old bus, isn't it?
Yeah,
so this is the F82. This is but you can see, and the wings as well, massively bigger wings, bigger chord than the Mustang. It's not just a case of each outer wing on this is a Mustang wing. It's a completely new aircraft. It was a completely new aircraft. It's in the same way that the Super Hornet is a completely new Hornet, really. They just kept the name to make it easier to sell. You could make the same argument for the twin Mustang, really. But yes. And this is one. The problem is I've had 3 new kits turn up this week, and I really badly want to start them all because they're all beautiful, aren't they? They're all absolutely.
I'm now that I've almost finished my Bushmaster. That will free up time for me to start building my lovely Laffley.
Oh yes, yeah. And so yeah, this has got masks. 3 decal sheets are included in there. 3 decal sheets. Quite a heavy sheet of photo etch there. canopy masks. And yeah, there's a nice instructions, nicely. You know, all these Eastern Europeans and Central Europeans are just doing quality work these days, aren't they?
Yep.
It's just absolute quality work from start to finish. And what I particularly like about this is you get two radar pods, one with a visible radar and one without. So you can make your choice, which I think is really quite nice. And then these are all night fighters. So they've all got these, so they're all black, but they've all got really nice markings on them. That's the famous one there with the blue tail and the stars on it. So yeah, I mean, there's not a lot you can do with the night fighter one, is there? It's going to be black.
I tell you what, looking at that plan view there, sorry, the underside view, if I squint my eyes slightly, it looks like a P61.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird that, isn't it? It's.
Yeah.
Well,
it was the aircraft that replaced the P61. So, but yeah, that was like I say, that one. That is a more expensive purchase at about 59 £59, I think I paid for that. That's a couple of pound postage and packing, but I've got no objections to it. I think it's a good price, and I think it's a good value kit, and I very much look forward to building it. So yeah, that was my new kits for over the last couple of days. So I just thought I'd share that with people. And the thing that strikes me is that they're all yeah. The thing that strikes me, John, is the quality of it all now.
Well,
it's just the quality that we're getting from these places now is just absolutely stellar, isn't it?
I will go back to my my ICM comedy clown tractor. It's beautifully done. It's just it honestly, I just want to get this this Bushmaster finally finished, and then I can crack on with that Laughley. But it is just beautiful, and as I said on the pop-up live video the other night, I looked at it and I thought, oh, this will be great. There's not much to this kit. Actually, when I started going through the construction sequences, there's a lot of small bits that build up into kind of like bigger bits. So actually, you can see how the construction process not when I say it's not going to be straightforward, not because it's a problem with the kit, but actually because they have put in so much detail that actually you are going to be spending your time building up that detail.
Yeah.
That little Laughley is just, and the other thing is actually, now that I've got the, now that I can actually visualize it in 3 dimensions, it's slightly bigger than the Jeep, slightly smaller than a Horch. But it's beautifully done. It is absolutely stunning.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, and so many of these manufacturers, that was like that the clear prop Mohawk, 76 scale Mohawk that we were looking at a few weeks ago. It was just absolutely spectacular. Just absolutely, and a few weeks ago I was saying that was one of the nicest 72nd scale kits I've ever seen. Then that Mustang dropped to the door. It's like, oh my god, it's one of the nicest 72nd. It's just the overall quality of these kits these days. It's just absolutely stellar, and it brings us back to, are you getting value for money? Yes, you are.
Yeah, Baghead 1996 says Dora Wings, model spec, etc. are like the classic airframes of today. I think that's a bit harsh, don't you?
I mean,
he qualifies that only much more buildable.
I know what you're saying, but there's just the leaps and bangs that have been made. The leaps and bangs that have been made in the last 10 years, I would say, especially from those parts of Europe. That ICM Bronco is my kit of 2021. Just fantastic. And their 32nd scale stuff, I'm really excited that ICM are doing a 32nd scale Yak 9 this year. I don't build 32nd scale kits, but that Yak 9, you have my attention. And Zvezda with their 48 scale Yak 9, you have my attention.
We've got a couple of comments here just quickly. Pavel. Sorry, Pavel. I'm just gonna have to call you Pavel, mate. Sorry. He says.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna. I saw that. Let's just have another. The one thing I did do, which I'm going to check very, very shortly, is I've actually, because this I got 2 FM1 sprues, I quickly dropped one of my FM2 over trees in there and took one of the FM. So I've replaced one of the sprues with one of my existing FM2 sprues. So I've got the complete kit as it's intended. So possibly.
I mean, you got the photo etch bits and the masks with the Mustang, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay, just check.
So
I'm just checking. I'm on their website at the moment. I'm just having a quick look on the.
there's definitely no etch and.
Well, I've got. Is that the FM1, FM2 Wildcat Deluxe set?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you should. Blimey, you should get 3 photo etch sprues in there. Photo etch frets, rather. And you should also get a set of masks as well.
I shall have a look around. I shall have a look around in a minute, because it's entirely possible that while I was ripping the boxes apart yesterday to look at them, I've mislaid them. Because Pavi says they were in there when he looked.
There we go.
Then they will be somewhere.
FM1.
I've no doubt they'll be somewhere, and that's entirely my oversight. So we will have a look. In fact, John, take me off screen for 20 seconds. No, I'm just going to go and have a check in the other room for them. So take me off screen for a second. I'll be back.
No, and he's gone. So yeah, I'm sure he'll find them. He's not the only person who misplaces things. Be nice if I could build a kit at some stage and not actually lose something. But yeah, it's as we were saying earlier on, it's phenomenal what we're getting at the moment. And I think somebody said, let me just have a quick look, scroll back through the comments here, and somebody said about the kits these days being it was something to do with the fact that kits these days would ordinarily be kind of like a highlight, and yet we're getting them every week. We're getting such good quality, we're getting them every week now. So and I did notice, if I scroll back, I did notice sorry, we're a bit slow on the comments tonight. We're a bit slow, full stop, really. It was somebody who, goodness me, I'll find it in a second. He had his he's building the Tacom the Tacom Zeppelin. I saw the comment and it's disappeared. How annoying. Drew's back anyway. Fill in, Drew. You found them? Ta-da! Where were they?
In the FM1 box, in the FM1 bag. I'm just checking because it's
Tony Surridge.
There we go. I was a little bit concerned there because I only had 2 frets and 1 sheet of masks that I can see. But as we can see, there we go.
Ta-da!
So all present and correct. No worries. All good. That was the only place they could logically be, really, being as I'd taken that out of the box. And yeah, that flak tower we discussed at some length, didn't we? How cool it was.
There are some. Again, people going on about lack of imagination. This, again, come back to what we said at the beginning of the show. I don't get how people can when a manufacturer announces their list of things and there isn't something there for AN person who wants to build something. It's the wrong scale. I don't build that scale. If only there were other kit companies out there doing things in the scale you like. You know what I mean? It's I don't get it. It's a very it's not a case of this glass is half empty, this glass is half full. It's a case of I didn't like the glass.
It's just we're living in.
Like I say, if there's one thing, serious face for a moment here. serious place for a moment. If there's one thing I've learned throughout the 2 years now that we've had this pandemic, is that actually falling into kind of like negative thinking is a very destructive thing. And so, is to try and if something presents itself as a problem, it's a problem, but then you just try and work out solutions to things or whatever, and I know it sounds like it's, I'm not going down the route of kind of like inspirational posters and kittens hanging off branches, but it is that kind of, I see, you see a lot of comments out there and you actually think to yourself, they don't sound like fun people to be around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you and I and Spencer,
if you can't find stuff in the hobby in this day and age to thoroughly enthrall you, you're not looking hard enough.
Yeah, and it's like I say, you come across this kind of negative mindset, and you just think, come on, what are you looking for? And it's either, well, I want this, well, there it is, yeah, but it's not the price I'm prepared to pay for it, or they haven't included the markings I wanted, or they haven't, and it's just like, oh, really,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's model Zvezda twin Mustang is a thick end of 60 quid. That's a lot of money. I'm not suggesting that isn't a significant outlay. I also think it's completely worth it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's not like I don't think I'm being overcharged at that price. I'm being charged a lot, but there's a difference between being charged a lot and being overcharged.
There we go. Here we go. Here's Travis. Travis Thompson. Thanks, Jim. Jim's pointed to what Travis Thompson said. He said 20 years ago, any one of these new kits would have been earth-shattering. Now we get 3 a week and people are spoiled. Just my opinion. No, not just your opinion. Your opinion, Travis. I would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those of us who grew up as teenagers and young people in the 80s and 90s, we remember what it was like. We do.
We literally, it was like Quest for Fire. We literally had to kind of like go out across the dinosaur strewn wilderness to try and find a brand new model kit, and kind of like fending off.
I can remember years when Scale Aircraft Modeling's list of new aircraft kits for a year was 1 page.
Yeah,
it was 1 page, and now, it could be a couple of pages a month. Just to keep up with, and this is sort of pre aftermarket. If you try to keep up with the aftermarket as well these days, it's just you can't do it.
Yeah, Dave Fleming says, I'm trying to find where Dave's cut. Yeah, Dave Fleming says he's deeply disappointed Airfix haven't announced a 72nd scale to Hamlin Venom or Ferry Battle. Dave, see us after the show. Instigator.
Yeah, but I think probably what Dave's getting at there is that there's a new Battleland Venom coming very, very shortly anyway. They're both those types are being kitted imminently. One of them already has been.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah,
the Venom is just about available. Yeah, Tim's exactly right. Under £100 is like the opposite of what we're discussing, in that for a 1/24 scale new tool Spitfire, that is phenomenal value for money.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Farr says, when you measure the cost against how much time you're going to spend on it, 72 quid for the Buccaneer, if you spend too much working on it, isn't bad. Actually, Stephen, I'd say if you spent a month on it, I mean, relative to the cost of things these days, and and let's face it, we are the words cost of living crisis at the moment are big headline news in the UK. So us talking about what are luxury plastic toys, we have to lend this a certain amount of perspective, you see. But yeah, I would say that these days, I went to a museum today. If you were to buy a family ticket for that museum, you're probably not looking far short of 72 quid.
What's it to go to the cinema now? It's about 15 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, per person, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
15 quid to go to. I always work it on I always break it down into roughly what value you're getting per hour. If you spend 10 hours building that Buccaneer, if you only spent 10 hours on that Buccaneer, That's £7 an hour you've paid for that. There's not a lot you can do entertainment-wise for £7 an hour.
Yeah.
Cinema's more expensive than that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, how much, how much would a round of drinks be? Oh, no, don't answer that question. You never buy any. So,
Feeling a burn from that one.
Do you know what? Actually, serious face again, semi-serious face again. On the way out to Yeovilton today, on the way out to Yeovilton today, I was on the road that took me past Jadlam, right? Yeah. So as I went past, I gave him a quick wave, but it was quite, did make me smile as driving along. There's the Jadlam sign by the side of the road, and it's got all the logos on it: Revell, Tamiya, Airfix, and whatever. And I just think to myself, I like the idea that people are driving up and down that road and they're seeing logos of the kit companies we like, But then I was also thinking that, that Saturday afternoon when we finished up there and we went to Glastonbury and had lunch in the Tor tea room. That was marvellous, wasn't it? It really was.
Great day out. Great day out.
It was a great day out. So yeah, we'll get in contact with Russ and we'll convene again at Jadlam soon, and we'll try and do that. We'll try and do a live event from there.
Yes, yeah. It's very reassuring that the everybody who's commenting in the comment section here is in violent agreement with us on the value of the hobby. I mean, I guess you could say that there's a bit of bias there, and that we're kind of attracting the people we want here anyway, aren't we? To a large degree.
No, but I would still argue if somebody says, well, you're always going to get people who say, well, back in my day, kits are only 2 shillings. Well, fine, you can have kits at 2 shillings. You can have kits at 1971 prices, but your weekly wage is going to be at 1971 prices. So yeah, exactly. It doesn't quite work out that way, then, does it? And I think this whole idea that kids are being priced out the market. Have you seen how expensive kids' tastes are these days? It's like so. No, that isn't true. And
little Johnny with his 1,200 quid iPhone is not being priced out of the market.
Yeah, and in any event, if I would say to somebody, okay, what are you prepared to spend? Give me that money. I'll get you a kit. I'll get you a couple of kits. I won't have that. I'm sorry. I'm sounding like Spencer now, but honestly, yes, of course, the new stuff is going to cost a bit more because there is a lot of investment going into that, and you are incurring, the kind of like the current prices in terms of the price of raw materials, the price of shipping. Somebody else made a comment earlier on about the fact that the whole industry at some stage we are going to see the cost of living, the cost of living hike. Here we go. It was Matt Whiting. He said cost increases are main logistic costs. Be interesting to see how other kit companies deal with these increases. Indeed, there will be a big rise in the cost of living generally in 2022. Exactly, Matt. Exactly. And like I say, we will place, as much as we are trying to some extent promote the hobby or be positive about the hobby. Let's not forget it is a hobby. It is a hobby, and it is a hobby at the moment which is thriving in what are difficult times.
It's like exactly. At the end of the day, it's something you spend disposable income on.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've got any disposable income, so. Most of the vast majority of the arguments about value and relative value doesn't hold any water whatsoever for me. It's like saying, that Airfix Series 2 kit was 55 pence in 1978. Yeah, but you were probably taking home 20 quid a week, not. People don't, and it just, all these arguments fall down as soon as you start looking at them under any kind of putting any kind of focus on that.
Here is a brilliant comment from Mick Wilson. This is absolutely bang on. He says the difference between something is too expensive or whether I and the next guy can afford it. Many of those complaining are confusing the two. Precisely, Mick. And I think one of the things I've said before is when people, a kit is announced and somebody says, "Oh no, I can't," I can't afford that, and I always say, "Well, hang about, I want it, but I can't afford it." And I would say, "Well, hang about. What are you going out and buying 3 kits of the equivalent value to that one, and then you're sticking them on a shelf and you're not building them?"
Yeah.
Because if you are doing it, then actually you clearly can afford to buy that kit. Whether people don't want to invest that much money in a single item, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean,
Their
I
money.
see
I can
James Ray
understand
there saying, "Is the price for the new Airfix but correct?" Quoting around 60 quid. I think the actual retail price is £72.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna find it for around 60-65 pounds in
yeah.
most online retailers. And bearing in mind that I've just paid 60 quid for a twin Mustang, which isn't going to be anywhere near as bulky as a Buccaneer. I think that's good value for money.
And that's a very good comment from Simon Lewis, actually. He says, years back, cost of manufacturer's public liability insurance wasn't so much a factor as if you cut your finger off building a kit, it was your fault back then. Yeah, there is that. There is sadly that as well. Yeah, and there you go. Dave Fleming says, every purchase is a value decision. Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah. Right. Well, I think before the hypothermia kicks in here, I need to go and I can't find it. Here we go. It's already here on the bench. Any other business?
Not from me. Another interesting.
I'm just going to give this 30 seconds because usually there's any other business, and then we suddenly run on for about another 15 minutes as we go on to any other. business.
No, I'm cutting it. I'm cutting you off. I'm cutting you off. Right, okay. You'll have to wait. You'll have to wait till Sunday for that. You have to wait for Sunday. We back on Sunday?
We are back on Sunday. I am. If in the meantime you can start lobbing some of those new aircraft releases you said you saw, that would be good because that'll give us something to talk about. And also, like I say, we'll probably go back and just have a recap on Zvezda. I think this is the problem. There's so much stuff coming out thick and fast in the last couple of weeks. I've been like,
yeah.
Have we covered that already or not? I can't remember. Yeah. I'll have to go back through the old scripts because we actually do a script for the Sunday show so that we have a running order of what we're talking about, more or less. So I'll have to go back through the running order, but I'm thinking I can't remember.
And also, I end up getting companies like Dora Wings, Clear Prop, Models Fit. You kind of end up getting them confused because they're all doing really, really interesting stuff, and they're all starting to have a sort of parity in quality now as well. So you do again. Was that who did that Mohawk? Was it Clear Prop or was it Dora? I don't know. It's Clear Prop. It's Clear Prop. We got. Who is it? Dora Wings who are doing the early P47s?
Yes.
Yes. Just like, is that Dora Wings or is it Clear Prop?
I keep mixing up Dora and Arma. I was convinced that it was Arma who did the Lysander. No, that's Dora Wings. I'm just like, oh. Yeah, I should write it all down and stick it on a pinboard here or something. But anyway, thank you to everybody who Jim Aldergott says more kit releases for Sunday. Right? Yep. We'll try and do a
plan, mate. That's the plan.
That's the plan. So
January and February, new kit months.
Aren't they just? Well, January and February and March and April, May, June, July, August, November, they're all new kit months. Exactly. On that note, just to say. Oh, sorry, we got one more comment here. Any other business? Can you do a scales discussion? I'm interested to know if people stick to one scale away. We will do that now, Mark. We will do that.
Good topic. Yeah, good subject.
We will do that for next Wednesday's show. Would you like aftermarket releases too? Yeah, Mike, we'll do that as a separate thing. In fact, we'll get you on the show. There we go. It's easier to do it that way, isn't it? Get Mike on, talk about stuff.
Yeah, I particularly like to talk to Mike because Mike's moving over to a lot of 3D printing now for actual productions stuff that he's selling. So I think that bears a lot of talking about.
I think what we'll do next. Right, here we go. Executive decision. Terrible film. We will next Wednesday's show. We will get Mike on. Mike, getting out of that now.
I won't be here next Wednesday. I'm on late, remember.
Okay, next Sunday.
I'm sorry, I've got a job.
The Sunday after. So have I. Don't you start.
I'm sorry for being the one of us with gainful employment that means he has to leave the house.
Excuse me.
That means he has to leave the house.
I had to leave the house today. Thank you. I had to leave the house and come down to your neck of the woods. Thank you. So I'm not having that. Deary me. We'll do it the Sunday after next. Let me just check my Tank Museum calendar here. Sunday after next, which I think is the 14th this Sunday. So Sunday, sorry, that's a Friday. That's a good start. Sunday the 23rd, we'll get Mike on and we'll do a thing and we'll do Mike's stuff as well. So there we go.
Yes. Thank you very much, James, for saying first time visitor excellent. Thank you very much, James.
Well, thank you, James. I hope we haven't put you off. And Simon Lewis says Drew has to pay for his 3 kits a week. Exactly.
It's a habit. I can give it up anytime I want, right?
On that note, on that final, I thought it was a works event. Anyway, on that note, we will say thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Goodness me, what did you tune into? As always, we'll be back on Sunday. So until then, from Drew,
good night, all. Take care.
Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.